Hello and welcome to another episode of FPL Apprenticed. This is episode 61, looking at Game Week 20. We are still the only podcast and series that delves into the minds of one of the greatest players to ever play the game, former world number one, Mr. Matthew Corbett. Matthew, very formal of me. Matt, Happy New Year to you, my friends. How are you keeping?
Yeah, happy 2025. Welcome to the new year. Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you? I think we missed one game week,
Yeah,
right? So now it's game week 19 that we're going to talk about going into game week 20. So we
correct.
missed that
Correct.
Christmas one. We gave ourselves a little break. Um,
Yeah, families would have just given us too much grief if we went home with our laptops, right? So you've kind of got to take some family time out. But I think since game week 19 and we'll speak about it in a minute, but pretty much both had green arrows over the two game weeks. So yeah, Merry Christmas both.
no, absolutely, mate. Should we get stuck into it?
Yeah, jump
I
on.
think
Get
should we
the
start with yours?
teams
Your
up.
your game week 19. I think you've got some interesting decisions, interesting results, interesting considerations. So yeah, kind of like what was the
To
story of
start.
the week for you?
So yeah, I mean, what I've kind of realized this week is I've got 15 pretty strong players.
Hmm.
I'm looking at my bench this game week. And I was like, I'm benching Pedro, I'm benching Semenyo, and I'm benching Saliba, who is a £6.2 million defender. So
Yeah,
it's a very strong bench. So my thought process behind it. So for those that are listening as opposed to watching, I started. Unfortunately for me, I've got Fabianski on my bench from a keeper point of view who's injured, and I started Sanchez. He got his rest midweek. I'm hoping is it Jorgensen? Yeah, Jorgensen for Chelsea that played. He gave away a pen. So I'm hoping Sanchez very much comes straight back in and will be there indefinitely going forward. And Fabianski's injury isn't too bad. But yeah, so I got zero from a goalkeeper. And then across my defence, I've played four at the back. And as I say, I've got Pedro and Semenyo on my bench. My thought process behind it, mate, I'm just
well, and
looking
Saliba
at
as well, which is a bold
and
call.
Saliba. And I was looking at it, I'm thinking to myself, well, I've got Trent away at West Ham,
Hmm.
7.2 million. Bought him in, gonna play him. For me, he's the best defender in the game.
Hmm.
And he got 15 points thanks to his goal, three bonus, and a clean sheet. Uh, I've then got Robinson at home to Bournemouth, and from an attacking threat, I just felt he had more to his game than a Saliba. Part of the reason I picked him. Aina, again, he was away at Everton. Everton are struggling for goals, left, right, and centre. Like they just don't score. And I've spoke highly about Nottingham Forest defence throughout the entire season. I'm a
Yeah,
big fan of it. Statistically, it's one of the best in the league. I just fancy them to go there and keep a clean sheet. Worked out for me. Aina ended up getting a clean sheet and two bonus. Robinson, from the attacking point of view, I've just mentioned, ended up getting an assist, which was good to see, taking him to four. So it was then a straight shootout, Gabriel and Saliba. I'm not playing both, and Gabriel's got a better attacking threat than Saliba from the corner. To be honest with you, mate, I got lucky. I thought in my head, I'm like Brentford's home record is one of the best in the division. Their away record is terrible, but their home record's rarely strong. I just fancied them to get a goal, which is why I didn't
yeah.
play both Gabriel and Saliba. And I got lucky because the expected goal that Arsenal had against them was 0.29.
Hmm.
But fortunately for me, a shot went in. So Gabriel ended up on two, and Sleeper on my bench ended up on two. So I was up with Aina and I was up with Robinson on them. But that was my thought process behind it. Expected Arsenal to concede and just fancied Robinson and Aina to either keep a clean sheet or get an attack in return. Didn't fancy that from Saliba. That was my thought process. Does that make sense? Do you understand why I
Um,
did it, or are you a bit
no, that
like that
makes
was
makes um, makes sense. I guess it's the pros and cons of having like a really deep squad. I mean, do you like having 15 viable options, or do you prefer the decisions just are made for you?
I prefer the decisions are made for me,
Yeah,
which is
that's
kind of
same,
common.
same. I think probably long term it's good having a deep squad, but I don't like the stress when you got to make decisions. I like it when you have like set and forget players and you've got funds maximized on your starting 11 and a kind of like playing bench, but cheap players that you only need to utilize when necessary. So yeah, you've got a very strong team now. I mean, the pro of that is that you shouldn't have to make unnecessary transfers, right? So I think that's probably a good tactic this time of year with maybe some double game weeks imminently on the horizon. Lots of the ability to, yeah. crew up to 5 transfers, the assistant manager chip as well. So I think it could work. Like it should limit the amount of transfers you need to do having such a deep squad. So I think that's the benefit of it.
Yeah, the con is kind of what's happened this week. You then get points on your bench. So Pedro first bench 9, Semenyo second bench with an assist. Don't know how the hell he got given that assist, by the way. If you've watched it, he got tackled.
Same with one of Pedro's assists as well, right? I mean, I wouldn't say either. Like probably, the guys you started played better than the people on the bench. I think Pedro's fortunate. I mean, I personally would have played. Who were Fulham playing?
Fulham were playing Bournemouth.
Yeah, I would have probably played Trent, Gabriel, Saliba. So you made a good call there with a clean sheet and bonus, and Robertson with the assist. Oh yeah, I would have played those 3 and probably Pedro.
Probably works out. I thought Pedro, he would have been. I wouldn't have ever started Semenyo. I was away from Semenyo.
Yeah.
But I did consider Pedro instead of, it would have been Aina, mainly because he was away from home. And so I'd maybe been 1 point up, but I'm not going to beat myself up for that 1 point. It was neither here nor there. Just to finish off the team, across my midfield, Palmer with 2, Sarr with 2. Sarr was very unlucky, by the way.
Yep.
He had expected goal involvement of 0.95 in that game. And just to put that into context, that is more than Eze and Mateta combined. Eze 0.47, Mateta 0.43.
I think he's the option. I still think he's the option for Palace right now, because I think people who follow models and prediction tools like religiously, they won't be recognizing Sarr's short term, like how good he's been like in the short term, right? Because there's not enough read of information. But he's been playing as the second striker, the most involved, and Eze's been off penalties now. Mateta is taking the last penalties when both Eze and Mateta have been on the pitch, right? So. Yeah, I think we'll see what Eze is a good player, of course, but I think I'd be going Sarr with the price difference for sure.
Yeah,
so I'm going Sarr. I don't know if you feel the same.
Absolutely not. I did a little bit when Eze scored, but then, as I say, I looked at the underlying data, and Sarr is so far ahead, more than double Eze, more than double Mateta, that I find it difficult to feel disappointed. So hopefully those numbers turn into points going forward. And then I had Salah, who was my captain. Wasn't really a pick between him and Palmer for me. No. I think we spoke about this a couple of weeks ago. Palmer away from home just doesn't sit with me. Just doesn't. I feel like he performs worse away from Stamford Bridge, whereas Salah, doesn't matter where he is, the guy can score. So got a goal, 2 assists, 3 bonus, ended up on 32 because of the captaincy armband. And then Rodgers I got a bit lucky with. So he got a goal and an assist in the Villa game. Expected goal involvement at 0.29. Come out with 2 returns. So a little bit lucky there, but I'll take it. And then up front, Isaac, another goal. Guy can't stop scoring, can he? I don't know how many games in a row that is, but another goal for him and a bonus point. And then Cunha, unfortunately for me, 1 point and went off at half time with a little injury. But yeah, it took me to 84 points overall, mate, for the game week. 1.4 million rank for the game week. Another green arrow for me. Touch wood, that continues up to 58k overall. So
nice.
Yeah, feeling pretty confident, mate. Pretty confident with the position.
Yeah, looking
fuck it up.
Yeah, looking good. Like let's see if defenders start scoring. Keep keep scoring points. There's lots of good ones at the moment, to be honest. Looking good, mate, and great rank. What's your highest rank you've ever had at any stage of the season?
Any stage of the season. I've finished in the top 50k 3 times, I want to say. So I finished. I think my best ever finish is 42k. But at this stage of the season, mate, like going into January, I'm usually sat somewhere between 1 and 2 million. So I'm pretty excited. I just don't want to mess it up.
Good, yeah, you're doing lots of greens as well. So I think your squad is well set up now, really. So it's like, there's good opportunity to just start accumulating those transfers are interesting situations that might emerge. But yeah, mate, that's looking really good. For me, I got 83 points for the week. So again, I think most weeks you're either dominating me or I'm just behind you. But 83 points, that's a decent green arrow, to be fair. So going into the week, I was at 940k. I'm now at an overall rank of just under 830k, which I think coincidentally is my 10th green arrow in a row, which I think is the longest stretch I've ever had. Like, I have to say, admittedly, some of them have been really small green arrows at like quite low
Take
ranks.
it.
But yeah, I think I'm like going to just look at my game week history now. So I'm just going to look down for a second. But I think I was going into this kind of like run post like wildcard one at like a really poor rank. I think I was 3.1 mil. So I've just been grinding the last 10 game weeks to 800k.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of nice little run there. Like, given that I've made a few mistakes there and maybe had not had a kind of share of luck some weeks. So yeah, I'm happy with the slow and steady progress. Going into the game week, I had probably one decision to make really. So that was do I make a goalkeeper transfer, right? So going into this game week, I had one free transfer kind of like available, right? Back in my head, I was like, yeah, especially with game week 24-25 on the horizon, that's the potential Liverpool and Everton double game week, and just like events happening, more interesting stuff potentially happening. I kind of want to start accruing transfers, right? I want to start like kind of like having them in my back pocket. Fabianski and Flecken were both went off injured in game week 18. Both teams also kind of like West Ham and Brentford kept rare clean sheets after those injuries, right? And I think both of them were on the like free bonus and like plenty of save points as well. So a bit unfortunate there.
Yeah.
But Flecken, my options really were quite limited. Ideally, I didn't have any money in the bank. If I had money in the bank, I would have been looking at Pickford or Alisson, right? I would have brought them in. Didn't have the money for that. So realistically, we can Flecken to Henderson, and that's because of Crystal Palace's nice kind of long-term run, really. Luckily for me, Palace conceded, right? So kind of like lucky I got away with that. And then Flecken started. And I thought it would be 50-50 because I think he's a decent enough keeper, makes a lot of saves, and like when there was some kind of like positive-ish announcements from Thomas Frank, like before the game week. So kept him. He got 1 point, but like at least I don't have a injured keeper now. So like and now next game week, Flecken has Southampton. So that was the only decision really I had to make then. So like rest of my team, Saliba, Gabriel, Trent as the back three, which kind of picks itself. Unlike yours, sorry, there's not as much competition there. Colwell, I think, is a distant fourth best option in nearly every game week. Right, some game weeks he might be better than Saliba, but he's firmly on the bench. So like you said, Gabriel, Saliba probably unlucky to concede. I think Mbumo's chance was really the only valid one, but I think that's the nature of it with Arsenal. Probably every game week they have a 50-50 chance of keeping a clean sheet. This week they didn't. Obviously with Alexander Arnold, great 15-point performance. I don't know if you felt the same because neither of us brought him in this game week. He had a better performance, really, statistically against Leicester. So it was like, I would have rather, being greedy now, but it'd been great if he could have had this 15-pointer when he had massive expected goal involvement last week when his ownership was a lot lower. But hey, you got to take those 15 pointers. I mean, just generally at the moment, there's a lot of defensive options that are just scoring really well. Like you've got Robinson and Aina who've been like doing great throughout the year. Aina's price point is mad now. Right? It's like, what was it,
5.2?
5.2, for a 4.5.
Or 5.1 maybe? Crazy how he's jumped.
Which is really mad, And then Hall has been doing really good as well. Hall has been doing good. So I'm kind of I missed out on Hall and Robinson, but I'm kind of glad now because it would have like Hall, I can just kind of bench him. So but it's interesting to see just like 8 Nori again, like with assists even when like Wall's doing bad. So it's kind of like there's a whole wealth of cheap defender options at the moment. It seems, especially seems like midfielders and forwards. There's not really a huge amount of options. Midfield picks itself. So I had Palmer, the same as you. Rogers, Salah captain, Sarr and Mbumo. Mbumo got his goal. He's got Southampton next. Then I can potentially consider getting rid of him, or I could just long-term hold because he's a guy of pedigree in terms of scoring and getting returns. Up front, Solanke and Isak. I decided to bench João Pedro, but I think realistically I couldn't justify Pedro over either Solanke or Isak. Yeah, Solanke, he's kind of like a difficult player because there's nothing really wrong, but there's just like game weeks, just repeatable game weeks where he just doesn't do anything. He just runs around, runs in the channels, or kind of drops in deeps and has no involvement at all. But then there'll be another one where he just kind of like sits in the 6-yard box and just like gets loads of chances, right? So there's nothing great about him, but there's nothing wrong. He's relatively cheap, so I think that's how you kind of justify it. But yeah, another green arrow, so not an outstanding week, but a solid one. So yeah, I'm making progress.
You think with Son missing a pen, Solanke's got to take the next one?
I wouldn't be too sure. I don't know if like someone like Madison would take it. I'm just speculating, but yeah, one penalty missed. I don't think it's not very good. Like if you're thinking it from a managerial perspective, it's not good culture, is it? That you've missed one penalty, then then you're off. Then, like, that fear of like not doing anything. So yeah, I think I'll be on it.
Salah's missed a few in his time. He scored plenty, but he's missed a few, but he's still on them. Yeah, I think that's the second green arrows in a row is very impressive. So
yeah, I'm kind of like it's. I think it's because I was like so far behind that like lower scores could squeeze a green arrow when you had a few red arrows, despite having similar scores or even better scores. So it's probably a function of me being quite far behind. But yeah, like you gotta take that. I think Newcastle looked in it on a link a separate note. Newcastle looked very good for quite a number of game weeks now, right? Like a very well settled team and looking very good actually. So I think I would like to haul or Gordon in my team, especially at such a time when I don't have many great options. So people who've made those calls a few weeks ago have done really well. To predict that.
Did he get a goal last game week and assist this one? I believe so. Two attacking returns in a
Hall did, and I think Gordon got another attacking return. I think they're looking good, especially with that midfield three, right?
Yeah,
Bruno really good. Looking very good, like.
And it's the results of late, as you say, gone to Old Trafford and won. Beat Arsenal, beat Chelsea. I know these weren't maybe all recent. Scored 3 against Liverpool. I know they ended up in a draw, but not many teams are going to put 3 past Liverpool this season. So they have looked really strong. Who did they beat? 4-0 at Ipswich, was it recently?
Yeah. But yeah, it's interesting since Dubravka's come in that they've been keeping clean sheets, which quite a few people would have gone Dubravka last year when Pope was injured because he was like a 3.9 or something like that, but he was just useless. But like, the clean sheets are coming now with him. But yeah, I can squeeze them in or justify it now. But I think people that are looking for moves. I think Newcastle got a continued decent run. Have been very impressive.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll move on. Firstly, before we move on, apologies that I keep having to touch my nose. I went for a run and some colds got up there. And constant nuisance. So if I keep going on mute, Matt, I apologise for it. But we will bring on something I've been looking forward to for a few weeks, mate. We're going to give ourselves a little update, as we do every week, with the FPL Apprenitce Mini League. And I broke the top 10. I have broke the top 10. Managed to get up there. I am 1 point ahead of the other David Saunders that's in the league, FPL Dave. 1 point ahead. He sent me a little message yesterday showing his disgruntledness at the fact that I'm ahead of him all of a sudden. But yeah, 1 point clear of 11th. So yeah, I can't complain, mate. So and finally one of us is appearing. It might only be the one-off this season, mate, but one of us has appeared in our own mini league top 10.
I think that should be like really encouraging for you. I think obviously everyone here will be pretty engaged, like on it, so like all good players. But like Nathan on 1,000, what's he got? 1,299 kind of points. He's ranked 7,000, like, and you're only less than 40 points behind, like 40 points behind, like. So that's obviously Like, I'm not saying it's going to be easy to kind of like, kind of cover 40 points within this league, but on an aggregate level, that's kind of really encouraging, right? Really encouraging.
Yeah. Pretty happy to. Well done, Nathan. By the way, up on top. Yeah, good score for you this week of 92, jumping over Harry Potter into first place. But yeah, just shy of 7,000 for Nathan. Fair play. That's a hell of a season so far. Thomas Jones back into the top 10 as well. He is a former leader of this league. And I think Andy in fifth, has he been? I'm pretty sure he's been at the top at one point as his T stretch. So yeah, competitive league. Happy to be in the top 10. Might be 1 week only, but hey, I'll take it. I'll I wanted to appear on this screen once, so good to be there.
Embrace it.
Exactly. I was going to milk this, but I won't. If you want to jump into this league, if anybody wondering, Matt, you have climbed. You're in the top 50, mate. 81 in the league. You're 45th. It shows you the competitiveness. To be honest with you, mate, 45 out of 81 doesn't sound great, but you're top 900,000. So I think that a lot of I think this is a very high performing league. It's about 24 in that main league. 800,000 to put you fourth. So I just think this is a very competitive league.
Yeah.
But if you do want to join us, do jump on in. League code is on the screen for those that are listening or can't see the screen. The code is T27ZGC, Tango 27, Zulu Golf Charlie. Come and take on Nathan. Give it 10 weeks. I'll try and be at the top. I'll give myself that challenge. No, coming for you, Nathan. Jumping on to the fixture ticker. A bit of a swing coming in game week 21. So we'll see some new teams coming onto this next game week. But you mentioned before, mate, about Crystal Palace, Dean Henderson maybe being a shout. I've heard a lot of talk about getting monies into people's teams, and you can see why. Top of the fixture ticker, Crystal Palace.
Yeah, I mean, no, I agree. I think attackers a good shout. As a Mateta seems to have nailed that position down now. So as a differential, it's kind of intriguing. Sa, I think that seems almost like a bit of a no-brainer for some team structures. Look at those fixtures, though. I know obviously this ticker here isn't separate between attacking and defensive like options. I don't see too many clean sheets there, from being totally honest. I could see them conceding in most of those games.
Yeah, maybe Everton not, just because their lack of firing power.
Yeah, Everton home. I think, if you look at the home games, Chelsea home, Brentford home, that's tough. Leicester, West Ham, Manchester United, I think they can all score.
Yeah. Especially at home, because they'll be at home, right?
Yeah, exactly. Obviously Palace are going down next 6 game weeks. Palace got the best fixtures according to this ticker. Then Southampton, Villa, Fulham, Liverpool, Chelsea, Newcastle, Forest, Arsenal, and then Brighton. I think looking at this, Palace are probably the couple of teams that are kind of interested now. So Palace, Villa, Fulham. I want to talk about Newcastle as well. There's lots. I think in a good way, there's lots of teams here that've got plenty of good FPL assets, and I think for you particularly, your team is stacked with players from these teams, so you should be feeling pretty good.
Yeah, the only one that I haven't got anybody from. Oh no, I was going to say Villa. I do. I've got Rodgers, but he's just unfortunately banned for that Leicester game, which is really frustrating. Would have been unfortunately getting that 5th booking in game week 19 of all game weeks to get it. Rodgers rules him out of that one. But yeah, the rest I seem to cover somebody for. I don't have an Arsenal attacker, which could be something that I solved this week, and I don't have anybody from Southampton. But they're bottom of the league and on 6 points, so I'm not going to rush for dibbling.
No, for sure.
Have you not got people from most of these?
Yeah, no, exactly. And I think you mentioned Arsenal attack. I think Arsenal are a mixed fixture run at best, right? Especially short term. I mean, if you looked at the next 5, I'd say that's a tough run. I think you're pretty well set. You're pretty well set. Now, Fulham's short term run is very nice. The next 4.
Robin's going to do wonders. And we will touch on strikers, but whilst we're on Fulham, I know Iwobi has the underlying stats, but he doesn't seem to deliver against it. Are you a Jimenez fan, or you're worried of Maniz coming off the bench, or even starting games like he has done of late?
I think it's done. I mean, that was just a kind of like rotation thing during the period. Obviously, he's not going to. Don't expect him to get 90 minutes, but I think it's quite kind of clear he's the starting striker. So I think his price point is kind of like a really nice option.
Yeah, absolutely. I think
Yeah,
you're
more so than
frustrated with
Iwobi.
Rodgers as well.
Really like Iwobi's. I think Iwobi's probably their top scorer outside of Robinson, but like I think there's better options in midfield for other teams versus like striker. It's quite slim pickings, right?
Yeah, well, to be fair, it was a bit unfair of me to say Iwobi doesn't deliver. I believe last week, I haven't looked since last week, of midfielders priced under 7 million, he's the top scoring midfielder.
No, exactly. It's just like he's going super under the radar. I don't know why. I haven't even really considered him at all. I'm kind of looking him up now. I'm just a bit intrigued. Yeah, he scored 85 points. Jimenez has scored 74. Robinson is obviously the flavour of the day. Only 66 points, right? So there's something there.
Only 5 million.
I think the thing with Iwobi, he hasn't scored. He hasn't had an attacking return in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 game weeks, right? So his returns have really been stacked in a couple of matches where he's had double-digit hauls, right? But like, what's his underlying stats been recently? Mixed. Okay, like against Bournemouth, 0.6 XGI, better goal involvement. So I mean, decent option still.
Last question for you on this one. So you mentioned before about stacking those transfers. I think we're both going into this game week with 2 free transfers. Is there a particular game week you're stacking for? Just flexibility.
One of it's like it's just interesting things that happen, whether it's like injuries, suspensions, or new information, right? An example of that would be really interesting. Gakpo getting injured would be a really interesting bit of news, right? Because then it'd be like, okay, it's super obvious just to get Luis Diaz.
Yeah.
For example. Or Jota, right? Yeah. So like you wait for like information like that, but also, I think probably like 24 game week 24, 25 is penciled in potentially as the double game week for Liverpool and Everton, right? So I think I'd be looking at stacking towards that as an event. I think it's kind of interesting because I've got 2 Liverpool players as of you. We've both got Trent and Salah.
Yeah.
I'm not desperate to commit to my third Liverpool player yet, just because I want to make sure I get the right one. So an easy option would be getting Alisson, right? But that's like very low ceiling, right? I kind of almost want to keep my powder dry and wait for seeing who's the second best attacker.
Yeah, I'm with you. I feel as you can only keep 1 clean sheet, right? Whereas if you get a Diaz or even a Gakpo, multiple returns.
And also you have your alternative there. If you're talking about keepers, is if it's a zero-sum game, is Pickford or Alisson, right? So Pickford has a chance to get penalty saves, get a clean sheet in the other game, and also accrue gain save points, right? So I think difference between a Luis Diaz starting 2 games versus a McNeil is quite bigger than the gap is bigger than Alisson and Pickford. So despite Liverpool's like nice run, I think I'd be waiting until game week 22, 23 to see if there's like an obvious option before.
No, I get that. And that might be some advice that comes in later because I've still got Cunha, who obviously has now got banned. And then the fixtures after the ban are horrific. So I need to probably do something with him, and I'll touch on that. In my thoughts.
I think you're looking here. There's a few options, right? You got Mateta. I'll see what you come up with, but like you're looking at these runs. Mateta for Palace. You've got Jimenez for Fulham. Maybe Gakpo, but like I'd be wary of that. You got Jackson. Everyone's got Isak, so like Isak, we won't talk about. Wood feels like a very obvious option. Jesus could be an option. So I think this ticket does kind of like suggest who the options are. Like,
some of the names you mentioned are very much on the list, so that is good to hear. Last question on this. I know I said last question before, but last question. You might not know the answer to this, mate. I read somewhere on Twitter that say you have got 3 Liverpool players. So say I go for Gakpo this game week, and I end up with Trent, Salah, and Gakpo.
Yeah.
I read somewhere on Twitter, or X should I call it, that if you've got 3 players from a team, you then, if you play your assistant manager chip, can't pick the manager from that team. Is that true? Like, I think you might not know because
No,
I didn't
I
know.
looked it up. I looked up when you mentioned it earlier. So yeah, that is true. Yeah, so kind of like
That is true.
the
Well, then
assistant
you
manager
right, interesting.
counts towards that 3-person limit from a
It's
single
interesting
team.
because then all of a sudden, if I did buy Gakpo, well, that if I ended up wanting to get slot in game week 24, I can't do it. Interesting. Okay, that might hold me off Gakpo for a little bit longer. Just keep
But
options.
it kind of does push you down a certain route, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. On to goalkeepers. Now, we might go through this a bit quickly because I put this together when there was the potential that Flecken and Fabianski were both out. I appreciate you had both of those keepers, and a lot of the game did. So I thought if those are long-term potential injuries, then who are the best options? Flecken obviously ended up playing yesterday, so I think he's back anyway. So
Yep.
maybe a bit less relevant. But I know a lot of people will be thinking of their goalkeeper options. So for me, just put on the screen what I see as the 4 best options in the game presently. Pickford and
Mhm.
Alisson primarily because of the double game weeks that are coming up.
Yep.
Whereas Henderson and Sells, Henderson's top of the fixture ticker.
Hmm.
Sells is probably the best cheap keeper. Sorry, a good cheap keeper from one of the best defenses in the division. And I think the
Yep.
numbers say that, you
No,
know.
for sure. Agree.
But yeah, who would you look at keeper wise?
I think it's these 4. I think that's why I agree with these 4. I think I'd always be looking to save money, right? So I think cheap option I would lean towards Henderson just because of the fixtures and the cheaper price. I appreciate what you're saying with Sells actually. So I could be convinced there. It depends on wider team structure and whatnot. But bear in mind, like assistant manager chip is some of the managers are 1.5 mil, right? So I think people will be wanting to free up some cash kind of like soon, right? So I think you've experienced it yourself this year, right? I think money spent on a keeper, like you're always like thinking, oh, where could I save, right? So I'd probably lean towards Henderson just, but I think Sells is a cracking option as well. Alisson's the best option, but we were talking about in isolation. Obviously, what we were just talking about 5 minutes ago is like, do you want to commit to that 3rd Liverpool option just now? I'm not. I'm not too. I'm not too sure. Then kind of Pickford is like that middle option of like, hey, just the way Everton plays allows him to like kind of like pick up a lot of points. And I think obviously Pickford, Alisson, like with game week 24, 25, potentially it's not been announced yet, but potentially being a double game week. Both of them are super appealing. So I think it's take your pick of these 4, really.
Yeah, I think for me the couple of standouts here. Sells the stats just tell you how good that Forest defense is. Expected clean sheets 2.22, way ahead of Pickford, fair bit ahead of Henderson, and they've kept 3 clean sheets. Expected goals conceded per 90 at 1.29.
Yep.
Alisson's underperforming. Expected goal per 90 concede of 0.8. Actually conceded 1.5. And the amount of saves he's made compared to the rest of the goalkeepers, as you'd expect, because he plays for Liverpool, is far lower as well. So the chances of save points are far lower. Comparing him directly with Pickford, Alisson's made 4 saves in the last 6 game weeks. Pickford's made 21. Caveat: Alisson hasn't played
Kelleher,
6 games
Kelleher's
because of his
he's played
injury.
half. So
So caveat there. But in the last 3 games which he has played, he's only made 4 saves. Does that lean you
well,
towards
well,
Pickford slightly because he's
it's
more likely to pick up points?
yeah, no, exactly. It's just kind of super boring as well. Like, so like you'd rather Van Dijk, you'd rather Robinson as a defender. Liverpool's defense isn't elite levels either. Let's be honest. Still better having 2 Arsenal defenders statistically. And then that's before we start to talk about Gakpo, Jota, Diaz, right? So that's just a super boring option, right? It's like
I agree.
fundamentally. So that, like you said, the points gaps between Alisson and Pickford isn't going to be huge.
Yeah, I agree. And I think, the way Liverpool score, I'd much rather have 2 attackers.
Yeah, for
To
sure,
keep
for sure.
that
And we've
squad.
spoken about all the like obviously the same like it applies to defenders as well as keepers. But we spoke about all the great cheap defenders that are options at the moment, and here you got some great alternative keeper options that are cheaper.
Yeah. I know a lot of people are going towards Pickford early purely because of that double game week that's coming up. I would throw in a
Potentially,
caveat.
it's not been confirmed, is it? So you've got to keep saying potentially. So I think,
No. Still
I think,
not been put on the board.
and I would say actually sometimes I've made the mistake of like thinking of these predictions, which just a random person makes, essentially taking it as gospel, and half the time they're incorrect. So like,
Yeah.
I mean, it's just a predict. It's just
Wait for the official. But Pickford,
no,
by the way, and Everton are massively overperforming. 3 clean sheets in the last 6 game weeks. Should have got 1.1.
yeah,
Should be conceding 1.63 goals per 90. They're
yeah.
conceding 0.6. They are massively getting away with it.
No, for sure. Well, like that's a result of him saving a penalty, right?
Yeah, true. That's a good point.
Like that, because like, what's a penalty? That's like expected goal, what,
0.8,
like
is it?
0.85 or something like that? 0.8, 0.85. So like if you save that, you're always going to be massively over for him. Yeah, I mean, looking at this, they're all good options. They set, yeah. I think ignoring they got an additional game week. I think sells is probably like a really nice way to tap into Forest's defense.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going to keep reflecting this coming game week now that he's played again. I'll probably again keep my powder dry a little bit. It's not, if you got a starting keeper, you're not in a desperate situation to move them on. So
no, I get that. But if you were picking one, I always put you to the sword with these sort of stuff. So if you're picking one, so for somebody that is moving a keeper, which one are you bringing in?
If you think there's going to be an extra game week in 24 or 25, Pickford. If you don't, Henderson, cheaper option there.
Indeed. Cheaper option and top of the fixture ticker. Completely get it.
Yeah.
Okay, and then just to finish off this particular piece around keepers, just on the screen, expected points for keepers for the next 6 game weeks. Unsurprisingly, Alisson Becker is top of the list thanks to Liverpool's fixtures, and no doubt thanks to them being top of the league. Kepa in second, which is an interesting one. Playing for Bournemouth, some nice fixtures for them coming up, and then it's followed by Sells, Onana, Henderson, and Pickford in sixth. Onana in fourth, out of interest. Would you be? I mean, I know it's easy to go in on Man United, and as a Liverpool fan, I embrace that sort of talk.
Yeah.
But would Onana be a consideration fourth on the expected points?
Absolutely not. Yeah. I don't think these predictions give any weight towards like Alisson and Pickford having a potential to play in 24 and 25 twice. Right? It looks like it's assuming those will be single game weeks. So probably they're artificially low. The predictions here. Kepa's a bit surprising. Wasn't expecting that, but he has been doing well.
Yeah. It's I was surprised to see him in second. Really disappointed to see Sanchez, my keeper, down in 10th, even though Chelsea have some nice fixtures, but he does like to concede. But just to bring up the Bournemouth fixtures in case somebody's looking there. I'm surprised. I think it's heavily weighted by 2 fixtures in particular, mates, because he's got Everton at home, good chance of a clean sheet there.
Yeah.
Then he goes to Chelsea, then he goes to Newcastle, then he's got Forest, then Liverpool, and then Southampton in game week 25. So I feel like it's heavily weighted for the Southampton and Everton fixture.
No, you can see that as well. You can see there's 2 game week 20 predicted points of 4.8, and then game week 25 predicted points of 4.6. Yeah, but in between, dreadful little run. Yeah, no, I think your options on the previous page are the best ones still. Yeah, I've got a dreadful keeper. I've got dreadful keepers though in Fabianski and Flecken for probably two of the worst defensive teams that we've seen in a while. So, yeah, I think in a couple of weeks I'll be looking to make that luxury move them on.
Yeah, get it. Well, we'll move on to strikers. Partly selfish reasons because I need to do something with Cunha. I think a fair few people in the game do, thanks to his ban missing a game week, and then they go into some awful fixtures after that. So I need to do something with him. I bought up 4 on the screen. There are some others that I'll touch on as well with you, Matt. So Jackson, Wisser, and Watkins are another 3 that I've got noted down, and I'll talk to you about their potential as options. But yeah, three on the screen. Just comparing them for expected goals, expected assists, expected per 90. Caveat: Jesus has only played 3 games compared to the rest, so just something to be aware of there. But yeah, who are you fancying up front?
Yeah, so you got Wood, Gakpo, Jesus, and Jimenez here is the comparison options. I think the guys that you mentioned there, what you mentioned, like Jackson, Watkins, they're Solanke, they're decent alternatives as well. Obviously, a little bit more expensive. I think Watkins is the best option. Obviously, far more expensive, right? So what there's a gap of 2.5 million plus there, but Watkins is the best option. But I think these are nice kind of viable options around the price point.
Yeah.
I think really just looking at fixtures, certainty, and performance like this year, it probably feels an absolute no-brainer just to go Wood. And I feel a little bit frustrated that it's just like a super easy exit point for people to get onto Wood as well, because you can see
And he's cheaper.
No, exactly. He's cheaper, like a decent fixture run. He's been scoring and assisting again. Obviously been great this season. Like for people who've held on to Cunha, it's like the perfect option to jump off. I think anything else is overthinking about it. Like Jimenez as his performance has dropped off recently, in my opinion. But he's like super cheap, and Fulham do have a nice run. But we've spoke about it before. Fulham attacking, from an attacking point of view, being quite poor. Defensively is where they've been good, right? But they're like scoring 1 goal a game. They're not banging in many. So like the same applies to Forest, but like Wood is absolutely dominating any attacking returns for Forest. So I think I know we'll have a deeper discussion of like pros and cons of different players, but I think Wood is an absolute no-brainer.
Yeah, the one you touched on Fulham there, I think Jimenez's expected goal involvement per 90 of 0.17 shows just how weak their defense is, their attack is. Sorry, whereas Wood is over double that, 0.36.
Which it's not great, but like I don't think he's had a penalty in the last. These stats from the last 6, right? But so I don't think he's had a penalty in the last 6, but he is the penalty taker. So if they get another one, that'll kind of increase, and then he does play 90, right? So Gakpo and Jesus, their expected goal involvement the last 6 games per 90 of 0.59 for Gakpo and 0.54 for Jesus, but they don't play 90, right? So when you kind of like average it out based on minutes, Wood is probably ahead of that.
I'd be interested to get your thoughts on Jesus. Obviously, he's come into the team. I think he came in slightly before the Saka injury, to be fair, but now he's with the Saka out, he looks like he's probably going to get a good run in the squad. He's massively overperforming, by the way. Should have just shy of 2 returns, and he's picked up 5 in the short time he's been back in the Arsenal team. What are your thoughts on him? Do you think he's a go-to option?
No, I don't think he's guaranteed. I don't think he's guaranteed to start at all. Really, if you think of the 3 attacking players, Havertz could quite easily just play as the centre forward. Yeah. You could say Jesus will be a replacement for Saka, but you could easily say that could be Trossard and Martinelli. Or who's the guy that played last game week? The young guy. They got like a 17-year-old neighbor who's playing like directly instead of Saka. So like, I don't think it's guaranteed that he starts.
Yeah, I get that. I get that completely. And his overperformance, followed by Brighton, Tottenham, Villa in the next 3, are keeping me away from him a little bit. So you've already said of the 4 on the screen, Wood seems like the obvious for you.
Yeah.
It was between Wood and Gakpo for me, but based on the previous discussion of it, rules me out of Slot as a potential route. Yeah, I think I'm leaning towards Wood as well. The others that I mentioned, so Nicholas Jackson got dropped last game week. Obviously, they lost to Ipswich. Rested is the better word. I think he seems to have that midweek team that he plays in Europe and so on and so forth. So I think it was a rest. But after a 2-0 defeat, you think he's going to come back in and probably continue. But his expected goal involvement per 90, 0.61. Next 4 fixtures, Crystal Palace away, Bournemouth at home, Wolves at home, City away. Wood or Jackson? I've got another 2 for you after this, but Wood or Jackson?
Probably Wood.
Wood.
Yeah.
Next one, I've got Wissa. Now, Wissa's not going to be ahead of Wood, and I'll tell you why. Expected goal involvement in the last 6 game weeks, this is 0.28. I'm shocked at that. because the guy was absolutely flying. Obviously, I had him for a couple of weeks. He did me well. Ended up selling him from the looks of it at the right time because the last 6
You
games
know
have
why?
been
Because
pretty awful.
they played last 5. They played Newcastle, Chelsea, Forest, Brighton, and Arsenal.
And in the next 4, he's away at Southampton and Palace. He's also got Man City and Liverpool.
Yeah,
So I
exactly.
think you stay away from him. The one that is of interest, and I can't quite afford him, annoyingly, is Ollie Watkins. Expected
Yeah,
goal involvement per 90 of 1.3.
Mhm.
Next 4 fixtures: Leicester, Everton, Arsenal, West Ham. Duran obviously misses the Leicester game, so he's going to be a guaranteed starter there. Be interested to see what happens when Duran comes back, because he seemed to be getting the starts, and Watkins kept getting benched.
I think it was just that peak period though, wasn't it? It was like there was Europe fixture congestion as well. Like Watkins has been doing good recently as well. Well, short term, but yeah, there was that period right where he was like coming on, but if
Yeah,
you could afford it,
it's
yeah,
looking.
Watkins would be the best option, of course. But like
Appreciate
you
there's a
say,
£2 million difference though
yeah, it's a huge,
between
huge
him and
price
Wood.
point difference. But yeah, Wood is a really nice, convenient opportunity, which I'm kind of like a little bit annoyed. I replaced Cunha early for Isaac, and I think that's just about paid. I don't know if it's paid off because like Cunha got like
I did all right. He got a
well,
12 against
yeah,
United.
he scored from a corner, didn't he? And then also had a 98-minute assist.
What a game week! What a game week that was. Fantastic.
Um,
Yeah.
so yeah, I don't even think I'm up on that, but I need the Isaac, so I've got him, so I'm kind of I'm kind of happy with that. But like, yeah, it's a very
And his,
convenient option for people to jump off onto Wood. I think anything else is overthinking.
yeah. But if you had the money, you'd take Watkins over Wood. And you think you can just do better with the money elsewhere?
I think you can do better with the money elsewhere.
Okay. Wood is the number one. Well, we'll see what
What do
my
you think?
thoughts are
What do you think, though? I
when
didn't
we.
ask for your thoughts.
You can, but I'm going to hold off until I do
Yeah.
my Gameweek 20 chat, because this is what I need to replace Cunha. So I'll keep you
Not
in suspense.
necessarily with your deep squad.
Well, there is that option which I've noted about a potential role. Uh, yeah, would. But expect the points over the next 6 game weeks. Haaland top, as he
Yeah.
probably always will be.
Yeah.
But 14.8 million is a major stretch for anybody that has Palmer and Salah. Pretty much impossible. Isaac second, Wood in third. Good to see. You noted him. He's up in third. Followed by Wissa, Watkins, Solanke, then Jackson. And clearly, Cunha in eighth. I don't think this has took into account that he's going to miss that game week 20.
Yep.
But yeah, Wood. I'll get you to talk about this for 30 seconds, mate, just whilst I catch my nose.
Yeah, well, I guess like not really surprising here that ignoring Haaland, given that inaccessible price point, Isaac is by far the next best one in terms of predicted points. 35.3 over the next 6, just behind Haaland actually. So that he's been exceptional recently. But yeah, not surprising to see Wood, like, given like his pedigree this year. The fixtures coming up, I think, is a really nice run and a super obvious exit point for Cunha. I'm very jealous. Like Watkins is interesting. He's quite artificially low, I think, on these predictions by Fix. 25.8 predicted points over the next 6. But I think that's probably game week 21 and 22. It's assuming a bit of rotation. I know he's got some
I think so.
tough fixtures there, but I think Watkins will be the starter. So I think I'd put him up. I'd put him behind Isaac as the next best option. But there's a big price differential, right? So yeah, Wood. And like I'm a Solanke owner at the moment. So a mid-price striker at 7.5. I would far rather Wood. I'm not going to make that move because that is a luxury transfer. There's nothing wrong with Solanke, and probably the differences in points isn't great. Like was it? Yeah. Solanke is predicted 25.5. Wood is predicted 28.4 of the next 6. That's 0.5 points difference per game. That's not worth me making a transfer. Right, there's no option where I can make more points up for that. But Solanke versus Wood, I'd go Wood at this stage. I hate owning Solanke.
He's like Darwin Núñez of last season, but he will pick up points.
Oh no,
Eventually.
Núñez was actually just like he was hovering up chances. Like
Right,
Solanke he doesn't take any shots or get any chances. There's like weeks. I'm just gonna get up his stats because it's like it's a painful experience. It's a painful experience. It was just like they had like such a nice fixture when I brought him in, but like
yeah.
against Wolves, 0.18, Forest 0.19, Liverpool 0.64, Southampton 0.28, Chelsea 0.94, Bournemouth 0.22. Yeah, that's not nice. City 0.17, and over the season per 90, it's like 0.55 XGI, which is that's good for his price point.
Yeah.
But it's like really skewed by 1 or 2 games. Like the standard game week, he's getting like Anthony Robinson is getting better, expected returns. So it's like, yeah, he's painful.
Yeah. Yeah, not a fire to put out though. He's a hold.
No, exactly. It's like mixed fixtures, but like he's still the starting strike again, 90 minutes for Spurs, right? So he's not like you said, not a burning fire to put out.
I'm gonna make a prediction. Gameweek 24, Matt sells Solanke for Gakpo. That's my prediction.
Well, if Luis Diaz is injured, yeah.
That's true. That's true.
Out of the 3, like Núñez is nowhere to be seen this year. I know I was a big fan like last year, but he's nowhere to be seen. So like the second best Liverpool attacker, we'll ignore Szoboszlai and kind of whatnot. Yeah, like out of Jota, Gakpo, and Diaz, I'd say come game week 24-25, I'd say Gakpo would be comfortably the 3rd best option.
Yeah, I think Jota's going to be the start at number 9. But he started as the start at number 9 until he got injured. He'll be back in once he's back up to match fitness.
And Diaz is just a better player. I mean,
yeah, I feel like Gakpo because he's done as well.
He's been really like you were a big fan. I wasn't. He's played very well. So he's been kind of brilliant. So
time we'll see. But yeah, Wood is Watkins number 1 if you've got the money to spare. If not, Wood, and you can probably do better with the money. There you go. Captain option. Won't spend much time on this because unsurprisingly, top of the shop is Mohamed Salah. He has Man United at home. Expected goals conceded for Man United in away games this season has been 1.58. Haaland at home to West Ham. And the Watkins at home to Leicester, finishing the top 3. I'm assuming, mate, you're probably going to go for Salah because you don't have Haaland or Watkins. But if you had Watkins, for example, at home to Leicester, who can on a expected goals conceded in away matches per 90 this season of 2.57, would you lean the captaincy armband that way, or would you stick with Salah?
I sit with Salah, and I probably put Isak as then after Palmer. I put Isak as the 3rd best option away to Spurs.
Yeah.
Who just concede against good teams, it seems anyway. Like weaker teams, they can go away, but like against good teams like Newcastle, they seem to concede loads of chances, and they've got no defenders left.
There's a lot of injuries. I'm hoping that they don't come back for the League Cup semi-final, and Liverpool score 6 again. Let's hope. But yeah, no. So Salah's your number 1 if you've got him, and if you haven't got him, Isak's number 2.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, like, they're just without any defenders. Who are they going to play?
Ben Davies is out now as well, isn't he? I was thinking Ben Davies at centre back. So they'll have to play Gray, young lad again.
Gucci and Gray, and then who else? Like Porro, who's not really a defender. Spence.
Udogie's back, right?
No, I think he's still a doubt.
Still out.
Yeah.
Points for Isak.
Well, you got subbed off, didn't he? He played 15 minutes.
I knew he started. I didn't realise he had gone off again. It's the 3rd time that's happened this season for Tottenham. They've rushed a defender back, and then they've gone off injured.
Yeah.
It happened with Romero and Van der Ven.
Yeah, Van der Ven. Yeah. So yeah, I can Isak.
Isak after Salah.
I think so. I've got Palmer as my vice captain at the moment, but I think I'll change it to Isak. Yeah.
Okay, fair play. Onto differentials. So I've pulled it back, mate. It is now 7-7. So for those that are watching or listening, we didn't catch up ahead of game week 19. So these are the points from game week 18, which is what we picked the players for. Martinelli got a clean sheet at home to Ipswich with 3 points. Jota came off the bench for Liverpool with 1, took Matt to 4 points total. I picked Jesus at home against Ipswich. He did get the start, but didn't do anything, so only 2 points for him. And then Gakpo in that game. Who did Liverpool play? Should know. Just played West Ham. Who did we play before West Ham? Can't remember. But
Leicester, isn't it?
Leicester 3-1, and Gakpo with a goal and an assist. Some bonus points as well. Took him to 12 points, giving me 14.
Nice.
So that did take it to 7-7. Nice to be even. Keep it exciting. You get to pick first this week.
Yeah, shame these choices weren't last game week. I think did Jesus?
Yeah,
I know
Martinelli scored.
Score and assist, I think, and Jota scored, I think.
Does Jesus not score twice? He definitely got a goal. I think he got an assist as well.
It would have been a big scoring week for us. Pretty record one.
I'm going to work it out.
But I'll talk about my first pick. So this week was quite a struggle. I think Gakpo's been a bit of a favourite of ours recently, but he's now 6% owned. A lot of like the standard options have just like crept out of ownership things. So I was looking at, I think Newcastle got a chance to really hammer Spurs just because of like how good Newcastle have been recently and then how thin at the back Spurs have been. So I'm going to go Murphy. He's played. But I think he's the starter. He gets subbed off at 70 minutes regularly, but he's been the starter pretty much like all season over Barnes, bar 1 or 2 weeks. So I think it's a settled team doing really well. So I think Murphy will start, and I think a good chance for at least one attacking return. So I'll go Jacob Murphy, the first option.
I like it. And I don't think he's appeared on this. Maybe once this season. So nice to see a new name. Worked it out. I'd have got, if it was game week 19, I'd have got 17. Jesus got 12. Gakpo got 5. And you'd have ended up on 15. Martinelli got 9, and Jota got 6. So would have been pretty big scores.
Yeah.
My first, I'm taking a gamble on somebody starting me. I wasn't overly impressed by Man City away at Leicester, but they got a 2-0 win.
They were bad.
They were not great, but West Ham just concede. Liverpool have just been there and scored 5. Could have scored more. Could have scored 8, 9. So I feel at home in front of their own fans, City might put 2 or 3 past West Ham. And Kevin De Bruyne seems to be getting starts again.
Yeah.
And when he does start, I expect a goal involvement per 90. He's on 0.7 for the season. So yeah, I'm going to go De Bruyne. He's only 4.5% owned. So I'm going to gamble on him getting a start and getting some returns.
Yeah, nice. I think I'm going to do have the same logic as you. Like just gambling on someone starting or at least doing well when they come on. So yeah, I'm going to go. Just checking the ownership to see if they're still eligible. Yeah, I'm going to go Jota home against United. 3.4% owned. Yeah, Jota.
3.4, nice.
Well, that screams out absolute hammering to that.
I don't want to get carried away, mate. As a red, I'd like to think it's a game we can win pretty comfortably. The way we've been playing and the way United have been playing. And for you, I hope you win Matt versus Dave next week and Jota gets you all your points. That's what I hope happens. We'll see. My second pick, I've got Evan Nielsen. He's been on this before a few times. He's only 3.4% owned, and he's at home against Everton. He's not been
nice.
He's not been he's got the odd goal of late. 0.5 to expected goal involvement per 90. But as I showed when we looked at the keepers, Everton have been massively overperforming their clean sheets. Their data isn't that good, so
good keeper,
that's going to catch up with them at some point. And I'm hoping it's this week and Evan Nielsen's involved.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's who I'm going to go for.
I like it. No, he's a bit of a staple, right? Evan Nielsen.
Yeah.
He's doing okay. He's doing okay, but not great. That's the
he ticks. But even if we get one return from him and he ends up on 6 points, that's not bad for this. Picking people under 5% is difficult, especially when the ones we pick that do well, like Gakpo, are now over 5%, so you can't pick him anymore. So yeah, it makes it tough. But there you go. So Jacob Murphy and Jota for you, Matt. Kevin De Bruyne and Evan Nielsen for me. And we'll see who takes an 8-7 lead.
I mean, I prefer yours.
It depends if De Bruyne doesn't start me, so you'll probably end up winning it. So I need to pray for that one. But we'll finish as we always do, which was what we are planning to do for Game Week 20. Apologies, I took this over nowhere. I've been chatting a lot of nonsense. But yeah, let's start with you, mate. Game Week 20 for you.
No, all me. I think it's because we skipped a week, and so it's like
exactly.
Lost our professionalism. Oh well. But yeah, Game Week 20.
I do chapters, mate. I do chapters in the. So if you're watching on YouTube, look below. The chapters are there. Just watch what you need to. If the hour's too long.
Yeah, the popular topic of goalkeeper transfer. Super.
Exactly.
Skip that chapter. Yeah.
Probably get skipped.
Yeah. So I was like, going into Game Week 20, going in with 2 free transfers. I'm probably going to roll it again, right? So Flecken started against Arsenal. So now he's got Southampton. So yeah, my team's going to be Flecken in goal, Saliba, Gabriel, and Trent. Palmer, Salah captain, Sarr and Bumo. Again, who's playing Southampton. João Pedro against Arsenal. I'll be starting because obviously Rodgers is injured. Solanke home to Newcastle, Isak away to Spurs. So yeah, I mean, not a great squad, but I'm kind of generally okay with it. I think the things that will dictate whether I got a good week or not will be probably Arsenal keeping a clean sheet. I think kind of like we're going to go a kind of a long way to dictate if I had a good weekend. Brentford doing well against Southampton, which they could well do that. Obviously, they're not very good away from home, but I think that's a fixture to change. I don't think there's any real decisions there. I don't want to. I'd bet Arsenal defence versus Brentford defence against anyone, right? So I could play Van der Ven against Southampton, but I think Saliba Gabriel's a sensible option. Longer term options. I mean, I think this was probably us discussing it when Flecken wasn't guaranteed, wasn't fit. But if Flecken was out, I would be considering Saliba to someone like Konsa maybe, or Anderson, given he's so cheap. Muniz would be an option, and then seeing if I could get Alisson or Pickford in. Luckily, I don't need to do that now, so I'm just kind of it seems like a no-brainer role. I can't see any area that I was changed to improve my team really this week.
I like that though. I like that because it's build yourself up to 3 free transfers, and if you don't see an option obvious, what we like in this game is when it's obvious.
No, for sure. For sure.
So it sounds like the obvious route is.
Yeah, for sure. I think if Rodgers was fit, I'd have a decision which would be do I bench Sarr or João Pedro? I probably would have benched Sarr just because of the penalty factor. But João Pedro has been really bad. And Sarr's been very, very good. So that would be the decision. But yeah, kind of worst game week for Rodgers to get his suspension. But that's helped eliminate a decision for me.
I was quite looking forward to him at home to Leicester. Unfortunately, I've got him as well. On that one, right? So you're talking if hypothetical, if Rodgers was fit, you'd start him, and it's between Pedro and Sarr that you'd drop. The fact that you've got 2 Arsenal defenders who are playing Brighton, how do you think about those sort of things? You're playing an attacker against 2 of your defenders.
It's irrelevant, really. You look at every player in isolation, right?
Okay, nice. Yeah.
Just view it completely independent of each other.
So it just so you wouldn't even think about that. You just compare Pedro and Sarr and make the decision that way.
Yeah, spot on. I get the logic. I think because I used to think like that when I was actually better at FPL. So I used to way to kind of think. But I think I haven't done that for years. It's always view the players in isolation, and I get it. It's I want to maximize my points. So if this player scores against these defenders, I'm gonna have a clean sheet wipeout. Don't matter. I played Mbumo last week against my Arsenal defenders.
Yeah,
he scored
a goal. Yeah.
Probably, I probably would have been better if I had a clean sheet. 0-0 would have been ideal. But yeah, I just view the players in isolation. I don't really consider are they facing each other and what are the implications of that.
No, spot on. So the chances are you'll end up with this team. The only thing that'll change is the vice captaincy armband will move over to Isaac.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, spot on. We'll touch on what I'm doing. There's a couple of things, something that you don't see every day. 5 at the back. So just for those that aren't watching, just to run through, Sanchez in goal. He's Fabianski's on my bench, but he's away at City. So even if he wasn't injured, I'm starting Sanchez away at Palace. Don't expect a clean sheet if I'm honest, but he's in. I've then got the defence of Gabriel, Saliba, Trent, as well as Aina, who's away at Wolves, and Robinson at home to Ipswich. Midfield, Palmer, Salah going nowhere. Salah's my captain. But they are joined by Sarah home to Chelsea and Semenyo, who's at home to Everton, and then Isaac up front. Reason I've got 5 at the back, mate, purely because Cunha's banned, Rogers is banned, so they both have to see up the bench. And then the only other option is João Pedro. And something in me, I think Aina away at Wolves has a better chance of keeping a clean sheet than Pedro scoring against Arsenal. That's it. I'm definitely playing Robinson. He's at home to Ipswich, so he's seeing the pitch. And I just think Aina's got a better chance of a clean sheet than Pedro scoring. So firstly, before I talk about my actual thoughts on what I might do this week, 5 at the back. Give me your thoughts.
I get it. Actually. Well, Robinson, yeah. You're going to play Trent every game. Who would be the defender you would bench?
If I was playing Pedro, or if I make a transfer for Cunha.
If you were to bring in Wood, like for Cunha, who would you bench?
I would bench. It'd be either Saliba or Aina.
Yeah.
And I'd probably go Aina.
Yeah, same. I think they're all really good options, right? That's the problem. It's like kind of weird. I was laughing because it's weird seeing 5 at the back, but like they're all kind of half decent options, to be honest. No, I get the logic. I think we could see if it's genius or like you end up with 2 points like across the board. Who knows? But
yeah,
like your other options aren't great either, right? So it's like I don't know Sarr versus Pedro though. That's a close one.
Yeah, I've gone for Sarr. No, he's not on pins. But the question I just asked you a minute ago, the reason I've gone for Sarr is if I'd like to maximise my points from the Arsenal defence. I don't want it. The Chelsea defence just isn't as good as the Arsenal defence, and that's the reason I picked Sarr. I think he's more likely, and his underlying stats are much better than Pedro's.
No, I get it. I mean,
it's
going to ruin your Sanchez keeper though.
Yeah, I know. That's the downside to it. But my thoughts, mate. So I've made a couple of notes. So Cunha, an easy move for me is Cunha out. He's only missing 1 game. There is a 2-match ban, but obviously one of those is the 3rd round of the FA Cup. So he only misses 1 game. But following that, his fixtures, mate, are horrific anyway. So although he'll miss the Forest game because of his ban, he then comes back to Newcastle, Chelsea, Arsenal, Villa, and Liverpool in the next 5. So for me, he's a sell. Whatever I do it this week is the chat. So I'd probably sell him for Wood, as I've put in my thought note 1 there, and then I'd play Wood ahead of one of my defenders, probably Aina, just because he's away from home. But a nice option, mate. I do like Gakpo, but that talk that we had a minute, like just before about that ruling me out of the potential getting slotted has put me off that. But I do like the idea of potentially rolling it and just playing that 11 because it gives me another week to get some information on whether Gakpo is an option or Diaz is a better option in the midfield.
Yeah.
And Wood away at Wolves. Do I think he's going to come in and get a half full of points? Probably not. So I don't mind the roll as an option. What out of those 2 points, mate? If you're in my situation, do you roll or do you sell Cunha for Wood, and then play him instead of Aina?
How many points are you predicting for Aina?
Clean sheet? I'm not, to be honest. I'm probably not. Am I?
No, but like, if you
I'll go
like
with
given
4.
4, yeah. No, I'd say 3.5, like, yeah, like something like that.
Yeah.
I think. And then Wood, what would you predict for Wood?
Yeah, maybe 4.5,
Yeah,
5.
I'd be like 4.5. Like if I was like doing a number, picking out a thin air. So it's like he's
Yeah.
better, isn't he? But like marginally better. Like I'd say his problem is like you've got loads of 3.5s. I'd give Saliba a three and
Yeah.
a half. I'd give Sarr a 3.5. I'd give Pedro probably I give him a little bit more because he's on penalties, to be honest. But like
Yeah.
you've got those. I reckon there's a valid option of rolling. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then just seeing where I'm at that point. I mean, Cunha's
Well,
going
you
to
could do
drop
Cunha
in
as well.
value.
I mean, I don't know if you've looked at your team because obviously you've got 5 good midfielders, 5 good defenders. How often would you want to be? And Pedro's there as well. I mean, like, yeah, you could get away with like Cunha for his bad fixture run as well. Yeah, I mean, everything screams out bringing Wood.
Yeah.
Um,
But
but
you don't hate the idea of rolling.
no,
It'd be one of them two that I do. Gakpo, as I say, coming into this chat, Gakpo was
oh
very
yeah,
much
yeah. I
on my
think
mind, but
it's a bit too rogue. I think.
yeah, a
Um,
5 in the back sounds fun though, doesn't it? Playing 5 at the back. When was the last time I did that in my FPL career? I played FPL for what, 12 years? From
yeah,
the count on one hand, the amount of time I played 5 defenders.
you got fun players though, like Robinson, who act as like proxy attackers, right? So I think that, and the same goes with Trent, right? So I think it's like, it's pretty fun.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah. The end of a
I'm glad you're in this position rather than me.
yeah. Just like the idea of getting to 3. You've been to it twice, I think, this season. I am yet to have in my FPL career 3 free transfers. This is the game week I could quite easily go to it. That's not how I should play the game, of course. So yeah, we'll see.
Oh
Bringing
yeah,
Wood.
rolling when it's not desperate needs to make a move is always
Remember what happened
decent.
last time I did it? I could have played Aina and I did a transfer and benched him. Do you remember what happened?
You got 15 points, didn't you?
He got 15
Yeah.
points. So not that I'm expecting him to do that again, but there's a lesson to be learned, right? So
Hmm.
I will see. We'll see. But yeah,
I
you're in from the
reckon
sounds of
there's
it.
the
You're in
option
it.
though. Just either roll or bring in Wood for Cunha. But I think you've got
Yeah,
to look at it. You got to look at the next 4 or 5 game weeks to see like when is Wood going to be coming into offer value because he's going to offer immediate value. I think he's better than Anas and Sa and Pedro this week for sure, and Saliba. Like so he improves your starting 11, but then it's kind of what benefit does it bring in? I think you'd probably start him every week, and he'd be an upgrade of like whatever your final attacker is. So it may make sense
yeah,
just bringing him in. But I think that's what
yeah.
you've got to probably do the next 5 6 game weeks to look at the value he's going to bring.
And that is what I'm going to do as soon as we're done. Get myself on Fantasy Football Fixers site and plug that in. Right, Spawn. Appreciate the guidance. Glad I'm not a million miles away from your thoughts, and that, as it always, brings us to a close. We've filmed this fairly early because we both are big fans of the darts, and there's some big games in the semi-finals happening a little bit later on. So, got plenty of time, mate. Are you watching that? You watching that at home? Get in the pub?
I might try and make an excuse to go to the pub.
Yeah, always. Why
Yeah.
not? Why not? It's
I'll,
little and bunting. Let's
yeah.
let's go the Scouser.
I'll share you some thoughts as well. And that's when the creativity will be flowing.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Your move is turned into a -8 actually.
My move has turned into a -8.
So you have to get Watkins in. Like we come up with like these creative ways. But
Yeah, well, I think off the top, I'd like to roll, but I think would makes a lot of sense. But I'll plug it in. I'll plug it in and see the damage. Uh, but yeah, appreciate your time, mate. Appreciate your time as always. We'll pick up, no doubt, at some point next week ahead of Game Week 21. There's a little bit of time between these 2 game weeks with FA Cup Round 3 starting next weekend after this week's fixtures. But then there's 2 very close together because there's midweek Game Week 21, followed very quickly by the weekend Game Week 22. So we'll no doubt pick up well in advance of that first lot chatting crap now, mate. The point is, we'll probably try and catch up between both if we can, but we've got a bit of time until the next one. But yeah, if you do roll, mate, wish you all the best. Let's make it 11 green arrows in a row.
Yeah, I'm trying to get. I'm going to try and get to 5 transfers. Why not? I think I got to 4 was my max. So like, that's going to be a little short-term objective. Well, you keep smashing records and get journey to your top 10k in it, to borrow the previous title of this pod that we thought was unachievable. I'll play around with like the side quests.
I'll do the main storyline. you do the subs. Yeah, that'll do. We'll work on that. You've got plenty of time to come back. We're only halfway through the season. And it wasn't that long ago, mate. I was on a very similar points tally to you. I think I've just ended up. Bruno did me well. Wissa did me well. Aina has been an unbelievable player for me this season. So it's you pick the right players, you'll be back amongst it.
That's the aim of the game, isn't it? Pick the right players.
True. and we will leave on that absolute bombshell. FPL is all about picking the right players. You don't get advice like that elsewhere, Matt. Nobody else is saying these things.
It's the advice that everyone's like afraid to say.
Yeah, but we go where people don't dare. On that point, bring in the best players. Roll up to 5. But I appreciate your advice as always. And I'll catch up with you at some point next weekend at Gameweek 21.
Oh, man.
And for you at home, sorry if you're watching and I keep dabbing my nose. Hopefully this will be gone by next game week. Thank you for your time. If you have learned something or just enjoyed it, please do give us a like and subscribe. It is free and it really does help us out. And whatever you look to do this week, may your arrows be green, just like mine and Matt's. We will catch you next week. Thanks again. All the best.